Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Melissa and I do true crime on this video. On the whole month of December, I'm going to be talking about young juveniles that went to prison. And on Friday, I talk about missing children. Today I got a new case. And today we're going to be talking about Haleigh who disappeared in 2009 from her home. So let's go ahead and learn about her. Y'all tell me what y'all think. In this case, there's a lot of theories. There's a lot of pointing fingers. So yeah. Haleigh was last known to be sleeping in her family trailer in 2000 block of Green Lane in the area of Herman Gulf in Santa Maria, Florida, late in the evening on February the 9th, 2009. She went to bed at 8 p.m. and her father lived-in girlfriend 5 months, Misty Jeanette Crossley, who went later by Misty Cummings, went to sleep in the same room at 10 p.m. and Haleigh's 3-year-old brother was also sleeping in the room. Haleigh's father, Ronald Lemmings Cummings, finished working second shift and arrived home sometimes after 3 a.m. on February 10th. Missy told him she discovered Haleigh was missing from her bed. The rear door to the trailer was several inches yard, and the screen door had been propped open with a cinder block. Ronald and Misty called 911 at 3:37 to report Haleigh's disappearance. The police found no signs of forced entry to the trailer, but they are uncertain whether the back door was locked. Ronald and Misty have insisted that it was, and Ronald maintained that trailer was broken into. Haleigh's younger brother told investigators that a man dressed in black had come to their home that night and taken his sister. Authorities aren't sure how much credit to give to his story given his age. An extensive search of the area turned up no signs of Haleigh. Her father stated she wouldn't have left home by herself at night, as she was afraid of the dark. Intentionally, reports were that Haleigh was last seen wearing a pink shirt and underwear, but police later said that they found the shirt. They wouldn't say where, but Misty says she found it in the laundry pile after she was allowed back into the house. Investigators now say that they don't know what Haleigh was wearing in the night of her disappearance. Photos of Ronald and Misty are posted with this case summary. They got married in March, a month after Haleigh's disappearance. Ronald stated he thought Haleigh would have wanted it. They needed to get permission from Misty's parents, as she was only 17 years old. In October 2009, 6 months into the marriage, Ronald filed for divorce. He cited incompatibility difference as the reason, mainly the stress because of Haleigh's disappearance and the consequence police investigation and media attention. The divorce became final within days. Since Ron and Missy had only been married a short time, they didn't share any property or had any children together. There was little to discuss. Haleigh's visiting her biological mother, Crystal, shared even at the weekend. A photo of Shirley is posted with this case summary. She and Ronald, who never married, separated for 4 years before Haleigh's disappearance and fought over custody of their 2 children in court. Ronald wanted custody because Shirley had admitted to using cocaine and because Haleigh had missed several doctor's appointments while in her care. Shirley alleged Ronald was violent. She once sought a protective order against him, but the case was dismissed. Ronald was given full custody of both children in December 2005. He had minor brushes with the law, mainly drugs arrests prior to Haleigh's disappearance, but most in the charges were dropped or he got deferred adjudication. Both Shirley and Ronald retained attorneys had Haleigh's disappearance through her attorney. Shirley accused Ronald of child abuse and neglect. Both side attorneys have since withdrawn their representation. Police also questioned Shirley's fiance as well as the other family member, friends of the family, and neighbors. Police reportedly questioned Misty about Haleigh's disappearance and looked into possibility that she wasn't in fact the home when the child disappeared. Misty describes herself as a devoted caregiver to Haleigh and her brother, and says she had been home the entire night and hadn't left the children alone. Investigators had been publicly skeptical of Misty's story, starting she failed 4 polygraphs and 1 voice stress test. They changed her story multiple times. They described her accounts as concealing incompetence. Misty and her older brother, Hank Thomas, later accused Joseph Joe Overstreet of kidnapping Haleigh Overstreet, who is from Tennessee was in Florida when the children disappeared. He visited the Cummings home on February the 9th and left only a few hours before Haleigh vanished. The next day, he returned to Tennessee. Photos of the streets in Tommy are posted with this case summary. Misty stated Overseed had sexually abused her when she was a child and had been involved in criminal activities his whole life, although he's not registered as a sex offender. Tommy was the first to accuse Overstreet of kidnapping, stating Overstreet planned to steal a machine gun from the Cummings residence and he couldn't find it. He threatened Misty with a knife and took Haleigh. Overstreet and Tommy drove to the Sand Street Joe's River 5 miles from Haleigh's home. Overstreet threw the child in the water. Misty later affirmed his statement, saying she had lied earlier because she was afraid of her cousin. Overstreet denies an involvement in Haleigh's disappearance, and he hasn't been charged in connection with it or even named as a suspect. Although he had been interviewed, authorities searched the river in April 2010 and brought Misty to the dock, but the search yielded nothing of interest. Misty and Tommy and Ronald were arrested on unrelated drug traffic charges in January 2010. Along with Ronald's cousin and friends, Ronald and the other defense all plead guilty except for Misty, who plead not contest. Although the defense except Misty were sentenced to 15 years in prison, Misty got 25 years. Ronald was released from prison 2022. Misty isn't scheduled for release until at least 2031. Haleigh's favorite food is macaroni and cheese, and her favorite things to play with are makeup and her laptop computer. At the time of her disappearance, she was in kindergarten, a student at Boyle Prairie Elementary School in San Mateo, Florida. Her case remains unsolved and is classified as a homicide. And that is a sad story of Haleigh. And like I said, with this case, there's a lot of pointing fingers. In my opinion, I feel like Misty and her brother and her cousin had something to do with it. And I think it was the fact that one, she was young, two, she felt like having Haleigh, I think she probably was jealous of a little girl. I know that may sound crazy to y'all, but she was probably jealous, and she was probably, the dad was giving her more attention than Misty was getting, and she just wanted to get rid of her. I mean, y'all probably would think, well, why didn't she take her brother too? It may be that, it may be something else, but I feel like Misty, her brother and her cousin do have more, they know more than what they're saying, and it just breaks my heart that she's probably an adult. Well, obviously she's an adult right now, so why are you protecting your brother? Why are you protecting your cousin? Just tell this family what happened to this little girl. Be in a grown woman and tell the family where this little girl. Give this family some closure. It's how do you let a family go for years not knowing what happened to my little girl? And she was sick. She had something where she probably she don't even look her age because of what she has. I can't remember the name of it, but it's in the case if y'all want to go look it up. But I really hope that one day she does decide to say the truth and she comes to her mind and just stop protecting her cousin and her brother and just say what really happened to that little girl, because you've done more damage than what you think. So I just hope that one day she decides to say something and speak up. But yeah, guys, I will see y'all on Monday with a new case.